All right, let's dive into a really powerful idea, one that completely reframes what you think of as your most valuable resource. We're not talking about money here. We're talking about a kind of spiritual capital that you invest every single day. So let me ask you this. What if your attention, your focus, your actual life force, what if all of that was a currency? Just imagine for a second that every morning you wake up, you get a direct deposit of this pure energy into your account. And the choice of what to do with it, invest it for long-term growth or just blow it on whatever feels good right now, that choice is all yours. So our story kicks off in a place we all recognize, a high school classroom. Totally normal, right? But then the regular lesson gets interrupted by this strange visitor who just calls himself Planner. And he's not there to talk about economics in the way we think about it. He's there to teach a totally different kind of finance. So here's the core idea Planner drops on these students. We all get a daily loan of what he calls Holy Spirit energy, basically a pure form of light. If you invest it in things like, say, kindness or learning a new skill, your spiritual net worth actually grows. But if you misuse it through anger or just by zoning out for hours, you don't just lose it. No, you create a kind of karmic debt that, well, it follows you. Now, as you can imagine, not everyone is lining up to be a spiritual investor. In fact, the story right away introduces us to three classic archetypes. Three students who are just perfect examples of the ways we all tend to waste this incredible resource. First up, we meet Diesel. He is the classic hedonist, right? His entire philosophy is about what feels good in the moment. He sees this daily energy deposit as basically a slush fund for instant gratification, binge-watching shows, doom-scrolling social media, whatever gives him a quick hit. For him, saving for some spiritual future is just a total waste of a perfectly good afternoon. And this slide just nails his mindset. It's called the exception fallacy. It's that voice in your head that says, yeah, sure, bad things happen, but they happen to other people. It's the belief that the universal laws of cause and effect, things like addiction or just total burnout, simply don't apply to him. He thinks he's the one guy who can cheat the system. Okay, next we have Abby. And Abby looks around and sees injustice everywhere. From her point of view, the whole system is broken, so why should she even bother trying to work within it? She kind of feels entitled to a spiritual bailout, like a universal basic income of well-being. This gets a name too, the fallacy of fairness. By focusing so hard on how the system is rigged against her, Abby gets to offload all the blame and responsibility. She's essentially just waiting for the universe or somebody, anybody else, to come along and fix her problems for her. And finally, there's Rev. He's the cool, detached intellectual who uses apathy like a shield. His argument is that the entire game, the pain, the pleasure, the investments, the debts, it's all just a meaningless illusion. So naturally, the smartest thing to do is to not play at all. But you see, his indifference is just a defense mechanism. It's apathy being used as armor. By acting like he's intellectually above it all, he gets to avoid the very real risk of trying and maybe failing. So there you have it, our three archetypes: the hedonist, the victim, and the nihilist. Each one rejects the planner's offer for their own very human reason. But in the middle of all this doubt and cynicism, one student, a guy named Evan, he sees something completely different. He doesn't see a scam or a burden. He sees an opportunity. Evan just cuts right through all that noise and asks the one question that actually matters. He thinks of this energy as cosmic coin, and he immediately wants to know about the ROI. He's not looking for an escape or an excuse. He wants to know the purpose. What's the point of doing the work? And the planner's answer is profound. The return on this spiritual investment, it's not stuff, it's not an easy life. It's freedom, real freedom. The power to be the master of your world instead of letting it master you. You literally become a majority shareholder in your own destiny. But to really truly make Evan understand the stakes, the planner reveals his true form. He's a being of pure light named Lord Blue, and he gives Evan a vision, showing him what this energy loss actually looks like on a whole other level. So Lord Blue shows Evan this stark difference. On one hand, you've got a healthy soul, and it's surrounded by this bright, contained field of golden light, this holy fire. It's basically a shield. But on the other hand, you see a field that's torn and ragged, just pouring out life force like water from a cracked cup, and attracting, well, let's just say some unwanted attention. And here, we see the very specific price each student is paying. For Diesel, the hedonist, his wasted energy is literally food for what the story calls beast of addiction. For Abby, the victim, her constant blame hands her personal power over to a victim virus. And for Rev, the nihilist, his refusal to participate just freezes his account. Nothing goes in, nothing comes out. It's total stagnation. They aren't just wasting their energy, they are actively funding their own misery. So, after seeing that intense vision, what's the big takeaway? It all boils down to one simple, practical, and absolutely critical first step for anyone who wants to start building their spiritual wealth. Lord Blue's advice just couldn't be any clearer. Stop the leaks. Before you can even think about building anything, you have to patch the holes in your own bucket first. You just can't fill a broken vessel. That is rule number 1, the absolute foundation of spiritual economics. And this breaks it all down into a practical 2-step process that literally anyone can use. First, you've got to become aware of your leaks. Where are you spending your energy when you shouldn't be? Then, step 2, you have to make a conscious choice to stop. It's this simple but incredibly powerful shift from just passively knowing to actively doing something about your own well-being. And, in the end, this story isn't really just about a few students in a classroom. It's a mirror. It forces us to ask ourselves the same question Evan starts to wrestle with. Where is my precious currency going? Which of these fallacies do I fall for sometimes? And what is my biggest energy leak? Now that is a question worth investing some serious thought into.